Annually, we put together this report that is substantially the outcome of the analysis that we do looking at innovation everywhere in the world. So I wanted to give you the highlights, and then I leave it to you to go through the full report. Highlights number one. So how much is large is the world of innovation? Well, we measure by one indicator that is not probably the best one, but is one that is easy to be tracked and is easy to be tracked and substantially in real time. That is number of scale-ups, meaning startups able to raise at least $1 million. You know, there is a lot of movement below that level, at least some of that really reach a certain level of structure, okay? And just to give you a sense of how much is large is the economy innovation at world level, we're talking about 90,000 plus scale-ups, able to raise 3.7 trillion. Now, let's take a look where are they. And so you can see this is the map of the world. The light blue bubble is the percentage of the number of scale-ups per region. And the dark blue is the percentage of the capital raised. So substantially talking about the 50% of the world is North America, mostly US. 43% of number of scale-ups and 48% of the capital. APAC, substantially moving to Far East Asia, is 28% of the scale-ups and 32% of the capital. Again, we heard some worry thoughts from both from Professor TB and Isidro Laz about the position of Europe. I think they are legitimate because again, we have 21% of the scale-ups and even worse, we have just 14% of the capital. So we have not so many innovation vessels and are also badly capitalized. So unfortunately, you are in Paris, but already the epicenter of the world innovation is not here. Pick up the wrong place. And then there are some other emerging regions that are coming up, but this is a long way. And now we will go through this process, how long does it take to go to the top. But I just want to give you some sense in terms of where are we, substantially. North America versus Europe, game, set, match by now. We have also the ability to go a bit more granular, also to give some of the sense of country by country, which is the position on the scale of world scale of innovation. And again, the first line is number of scale-ups, startup able to raise $1 million. Second line, scalers, startup able to raise $100 million. Super scalers, startup able to raise $1 billion. Fourth line is how much capital has been raised collectively. The fifth line, we are comparing number of scalers with the population, 100,000 inhabitants, number of scalers per. And the fifth line, the sixth line, sorry, is the percentage of capital raised on the GP, just to compare apple with apple, again, money with money, despite it's not exactly the same stuff. And again, you can take a look at the country that you like it most, but substantially there are some countries, long story short, there are some countries that are investing a massive percentage of the GDP in the future, and not in the past. An example is Israel, 22.5%. US, 6.1. If you look at the data of Silicon Valley, you probably find 75%. And there are countries that are investing a neglectable portion of that. 1.3% Germany, 1.5% France, 0.6% Japan, 1.9% Canada. Also China is 1.7%. And again, we have more, but again, I don't want to spend the entire day showing numbers, but just to give you a sense, we can measure that. You can see those countries are investing more, and typically if you invest more, you get more. Because again, we are discussing with Professor TB over lunch, again, it's about money at the end. No money, no game, no party. So this is some numbers. So we have all this data, country by country. We at least each of them can compare itself with others. And then you can understand also trying to put in countries on per region, you can understand exactly what the geography of innovation are, which countries are a bit better than others, not because we like competition, but just to understand, in order to make comparison, where are we and where a specific country is on the world scale. And again, we have the opportunity to go through the report and take a deeper look at all the data. I want just to push you another step further. And the next train of thoughts is that actually talking about startups, talking about innovation, and talking about countries are probably talking at the wrong level. Because unfortunately, or happily, I would say unfortunately, because I look at the potential consequences, but this is the reality, the economic of innovation, the economic of startups, is not equally distributed evenly across countries and across regions, but is so badly concentrated in a few places in the world, and inside each country into around 1 or maximum 2 places, cities per country. These are some numbers of analysis that we've done a few years ago, but they're still valid. Substantially, if you look at just this is data about Europe, but you see that 60% on average of scale-ups in Europe are concentrated around the capital city or another city. One place. One place, 67% of the economy of innovation, and 75% of the capital raised. And those cities represent, on average, only 14% of the population and only 34% of the GDP. That is, let's say, this is the new economy, this is the old economy. This is the future, this is the past. So substantially what the message I'm trying to convey over here is that we have a problem. Because all we are, again, the way the world was designed is to have a more equal distribution of the GDP production. And the future is not designed that way. That meaning that we have a gigantic agglomeration of people around a few places and desertification. Again, we have seen last century moving from towards city from the rural areas. Probably we're seeing something from tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities to the capital city or to another places per country. And again, this is not just Europe. This is some example of the current scale-up concentration on the main scale-ups hub per country. You see, London is 68% of the UK scale-up population. Paris is 65%. Tokyo is 81%. Seoul is 76%. Sao Paulo is 68%. And if you go, Dubai is 90%. Jakarta, 83%. Santiago de Chile is 96%. Nairobi is 92%. So I mean, there is one place and nothing else. And that is a problem. But that is also the reality. What we try to do over here, so we map at all the single ecosystem of the world. We can map them by zip codes. Try to understand how much economy of innovation is agglomerated around them. We put them on a curve, a life cycle curve, because again, I like the concept. And again, we identify 4 stages, what is called the stand-up phase. Substantially, you're talking about, in this phase, a country or a region is producing 25 new scale-ups per year. The startup stage, that is the second stage, they're producing 150 scale-ups per year. In the scale-up phase, they're producing 600 new scale-ups per year. When you get to the star phase, you're producing from 2.5 thousand to 10,000 new scale-ups per year. Substantially, scale-ups are the new innovation vessels. The more you produce, the more innovate. And there are phases when just produces a bunch, you're producing more. So this is the different stages of what we call is the innovation ecosystem life cycle curve. And again, this is obviously on the right hand, you have just a bunch of them, 50 ecosystems worldwide. If you move to the prior stage, you have 46. If you move to the prior stage, you're about 100. If you move in the stand-up phase, you're about 1,000 plus. So the more you go to the right, the more selective the game begins. And again, mapping, we can put all of them. We just make some examples, but these are exhaustive from here to there. Substantially, we are talking about there is one place in the world that is definitely leading, and it is called Silicon Valley. And again, this is what is the star stage. Substantially is divided into what is called the supernovas, the one that become a certain level, and Silicon Valley is the foremost. Then you have New York, then you have the first Chinese, that is Beijing, then you have London, and you have Israel. And then moving down a notch, you get two other Chinese that are Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Shanghai. Then you have LA, and Texas, and Boston, and Cambridge. Then you get the first European and the only European one, that is Paris. And then you have Tokyo and Singapore, Seoul, and then Canada with Ontario. And then you move down, you start emerging other countries, other regions, etc., etc., etc. The point is there, if you are here, all the eyes of the innovation hunters are focused on you. They are there. Silicon Valley, out of the Fortune 500 companies, 250 have an innovation outpost there. If you are here, nobody cares about you because there is not enough concentration of innovation. So the only thing that should be on your agenda is how you can move fast to the right, how you can get attention. Because unfortunately, this is a virtuous or vicious cycle. If you are here, you go faster and faster and faster. If you are here, you remain there. And we analyzed what has been the time. This is the company, the regions that move to the next stage in the last year, because we made the same numbers last year. And you can see that again, in the Novaster phase, we have Seoul and Ontario that was in the prior phase. So Paulo make the jump from early scale-up to late scale-up. Jakarta and Zurich now are in the early scale-up stage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem is that, on average, moving one stage to another, we're talking about from 2.5 to 3 years per stage. So meaning that from Tunis to San Francisco is 25 years. And the problem that San Francisco is moving as well. It's going a bit fast. But there is a good news, is that we analyzed if there are some ecosystems that are moving faster than average, and they are. And so this is a few examples. I think is super interesting is New York, they move from Nova Star to supernova star, that typically is 4.5 years in 2 years. And I think you see Beijing took 3 years rather than 4.5 years that is typical. London, 2 years as well. And then seeing also the path of other ecosystems to move one fast, we can understand, at least we have the data to support that something good has been done over there if they are able to move faster. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel for everybody, assuming that you do the right things. Do the right things is trying to understand what can be done in those ecosystems, might be in Lagos, might be in Riyadh, might be in Quebec, might be in Alberta, might be in Tallinn, might be in Seoul, might be in Singapore, that allow them to move faster across the stages. Or you can shorten your time to Silicon Valley from 25 years to something shorter. Or you can progress, or you can be visible on this map. So this is the question that should keep the local governments up at night in order to understand, because this is the only race that is worth to be fight. Because if not, you remain invisible, you remain off the radar. So that's what I wanted to show you super briefly. And I think it's important. You can get access to the full report just downloading from our website, and hope you can find it useful, and particularly if you find us interesting benchmark, they're role models for everybody. By the way, in the report, we also showcasing some of you that we believe are putting in place some interesting recipes, some interesting policies. And this is the one that will be awarded in a way that also what you have done might be a potential role model for others to follow.